Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the GP Metaverse GT7 tournament. It's the grand finals. We have 3 races for you today. And oh boy, we have got a star-studded field for you as well. As you can see in the background, we've got Circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya. That will be race number 1. But here's the format then. Qualification 3 times 15-minute races. So the qualification will be done and dusted. We will just see the racing action. And the car they're using is the SF19 Super Formula Honda 2019. There is Spa-Francorchamps, which will be the second race of the championship. But here is the schedule. Race 1, Circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya. Then we head to Spa-Francorchamps. And then race 3 will be at the Nürburgring GP. 3 incredibly famous circuits. So here are the prizes then. First place will get 0.3 Ethereum and a golden helmet NFT, which indeed gives you paddock passes to Monaco 2023 for Formula 1. Second place, 0.2 Ethereum and a driver NFT, plus 1 NFT token from main collection. Third place will get 0.1 Ethereum plus a main collection token. Fourth place, 0.1 plus F122 on the platform of your choice. Fifth place will get 0.1 Ethereum. And then we've got sixth place, a GP Metaverse hoodie. And 7th place will get a $25 voucher for merch in the GP Metaverse shop. Here are your point structure then. P1 25, then 20, 17, 15, 13, 10 points for 6th, then 8, and 6 points for your top 8. So here are your championship contenders then. We've got Angelov, Camsio GT, Chupaghetti, Maverick X23, Kamilek, Kuba Wanya, Schwister, Shadow, Heiser, Lormans, and Delos 33. Here we are then, race number 1. We're at Spain, at Circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya. Home of Spanish Formula 1 for many a year. Here's some facts about the circuit. Of course, we are in Spain. The track length is 4.6 kilometers, quite a long circuit, and it has 16 turns. Plenty of overtaking opportunities, especially down in towards turn number 1. See the crowd there packed into the stands. But here, it's race time. Angelov then for SRC is indeed ahead of his 2 teammates, Camsio GT and Kamilek 2424. It's a Polish front 4, and we're about to go green light racing. We are green light racing. It's lap 1 of 11 here in the GP Metaverse Championship. First of 3. Down towards turn number 1, we will go Angelov then with a superb start. And you can see the SRC all representing that bright yellow liveries. There's a bit of a mistake there from P3. It is a massive mistake that Kamilek drops behind Svistu. So another Polish driver then up to P3. And I tell you what, I think Chupaghetti may have got him as well. Chupaghetti and indeed Kamilek 24-24 battling for position. Yes, Kamilek falling further and further back here. A slip up the inside then from Chupaghetti. And that is a position gained and a position lost. Maverick X24 also joining the party here as there's a massive dive up the inside from Maverick on Chupaghetti. Maverick creating the contact there, but actually decides to let the driver go through. That's great sportsmanship then from the Belgian. So Maverick now under a bit of pressure from Kamilek. Kamilek has got Kuba Wanya just in behind her as well as we go down to 9th and 10th. The Shadow's been completely spun around into the barrier. He will go. And that looked like it was between him and Lormans. Lormans moves up to P9. And well, I'm sure that will be investigated after the race for sure. Svistu P3 then. Again, just keeping himself out of trouble, not getting too involved in anything here, and absolutely deserving of that P3 as we come then through the final few corners. It's been an action-packed first lap here, But ultimately, it is a Polish 1, 2, and indeed 3. Chupageti then in 4th position. Maverick X24 for UNEM is in 5th position. Then we've got SRC Kamalek 24-24 down in 6th position. As we can see here, the slipstream really working out down towards turn number 1. Oh, it looks like Kamalek's actually got a 0.5 second penalty here. We'll have to take that in the penalty zone. It's not ideal at all. Kuba Wania will indeed be looking at that thinking, yes, I absolutely will be looking to take full advantage of that later on in this race. But it is still indeed Angelov and Camsio GT right at the front, very close between the two of them. Once again, we're still on board with our P7 here. A bit of breathing space actually here. No real pressure from behind, no real pressure being piled on from himself moving forward either. So it's just a case of settling, you know, maybe guarantee yourself some points here moving forward to race number 2, which will indeed be at Spa, and then indeed potentially go for a championship run when it comes to the final race at the Nürburgring GP. But yeah, everybody's kind of settled into a nice little rhythm here. You can see that Kuba Wania is absolutely going to dive up the inside here. Proper lunge there on SRC Kamalek. Leaves the room on the outside, and wow, he's going to get the job done here beautifully well. A little bit of door banging there, if they had doors. A little bit of wheel banging, we should say, into the final sector here. And wow, that came out of absolutely nowhere. Kuba Wania, who's actually now going to be in a little bit of trouble here through this left-hander. He's going to be compromised for sure, but actually deals with it relatively well. Kamalek then right in behind him. So we've got a lovely camera shot here. So we've got the slipstream working in our favour as well. As we come across the start-finish line here, pulls out to the left-hand side. We'll have to take the long way round here if he wants to get back up to P6. Kamalek then is momentarily in P6, and I tell you what, Wania is going to give that up there. I think he got a bit too greedy, a bit too aggressive, and actually has run wide himself there through turn number 1, into 2 and 3, and now under a bit of pressure from Heiser, the Frenchman in P8 in that all-red vehicle just in behind. As actually, Kamalek has just done the first, or the fastest first sector out of everybody by 0.4 of a second. Purple then meaning that that is his best sector and, of course, of the session. In front there, that 0.5 second penalty will be taken at the end of the race then by the looks of things, which indeed, well, it could prove to be a massive factor here. So Maverick, who is being chased down here by Kamalek. Kamalek, who seems to have found a lovely rhythm now here in race number 1, is going to look to potentially get themselves involved, and actually is the fastest out there by quite the considerable margin. Yellow flag out on circuit here. Overtaking is not permitted. Green flag's back out here, so I'm wondering if someone's made a little bit of an error there. It's still Angelov though, who still leads the way. Camsio GT in 2nd position, and actually we're on board here with Svistu, who's just done a very, very quick middle sector, and there's the spin. So it looks like that was the replay. So there was what the yellow flags were all about, and that is a big mistake there from Svistu. Was in P3. The rejoin isn't the greatest, but doesn't seem to affect anybody there. Lomans has to run a little bit wide, but Svistu then, who was indeed keeping it a Polish 1, 2, 3, unfortunately, it's just dropped back there onto the curb a little bit too early on the power, and that was all she indeed wrote. So here we are, lap number 3 of 11. We're heading on to lap number 4 of 11. And as you can see then, it is Angelov and indeed Camsio. Well, you can't see them. They've gone. They've checked out. Chupageti's the first one. We can really see he's currently 3rd. Maverick trying to chase down Chupageti. And then you've got indeed Kamalek just in behind. Looks like the penalty has indeed been taken now by Maverick as well. So that is all good in the hood. But yeah, Kamalek closing in. There is the fastest time. Maverick is absolutely flying here, by the way. Potentially looking to get involved here with Chupageti. But the front two, they are in a different postcode right now. Just flying off into the distance here. Not even quite at the halfway point of this race, but it's just a case of don't make a mistake, and you're pretty much golden to get the first 2 positions of this race. And yeah, start championship well. When you know it's a 3-race championship, just start the championship well. Guarantee yourself some points on the board, and then you've got something to indeed work with as you move forward in the championship. 4th position then for Maverick, being caught here by Kamalek a little bit, but also is flying. So interesting to see whether Kamalek and Maverick could maybe make a charge here for that top 3, get onto the podium for our first race. As we come then through that final chicane here, got to be on the power as early as possible. You've got to set yourself up, and actually Maverick runs a little bit wide. Probably will actually be able to carry a little bit more speed here, but will be under a little bit of pressure because the slipstream is absolutely one of the strongest features within the GT7 game. Chupageti, who was being caught by 4th position, has just eked out a little bit more of a gap here. as we are now onto lap number 5. So 6 laps remain of this race around this Spanish circuit. 1 minute 22 is the lap time, so we're looking at around about 7 and a bit minutes of racing left to go. So we're on board here with Kamalek, and Kamalek is very much closing up to Maverick. Maverick runs off the circuit there, touches the grass ever so slightly, which is quite rare for sim races. We're not used to touching grass, that's for sure. Can Kamalek potentially find himself another position? Of course, drop right back at the start of this race. It was an SRC 1, 2, 3 at the front, and dropped down to P7 at one stage of this race, but is making his way back through here. Massive mistake there in front by Maverick. So Maverick would have indeed may have incurred a penalty there himself. Carried a lot of speed through there, but might have got away with it actually. By the looks of things, has got away with it. But the pressure that is being piled on by Kamalek is massive right now. Holding that apex then as we come up towards the final of our 3 corners here around Catalunya. Opening up the corners really nicely there. Not quite getting as close to the sausage curb on the inside of the apex as you would like from Kamalek. He's got the dirty air effect though of Maverick in front, but now has to use that slipstream as Maverick just magically appears really close in front of him there. So yeah, that was not ideal. Latency there from Maverick maybe coming into effect, but Kamalek has absolutely caught up here. We're on lap 6 then of 11. We're in a nice little helmet cam here. Really is showing the G-forces there of the head movement left and indeed right. Fastest lap, by the way, Camsio GT currently running second at 22.407. So very, very quick time there for Camsio. Front 2 are very, very close as well. So yeah, those 2 will potentially, being teammates, you would think they're just going to stay in those positions right now, just try and get away, and then maybe fight a little bit later on. Chupaghetti currently in P3. It's got himself a nice little gap to work with now as Maverick and Kamalek are kind of costing each other too much time. So yeah, a little bit too much time being costed there between the 2 of them. But again, get yourself a P4 or P5 here, just guarantee it. Some great points on offer then for that. So if you get yourself a P4 here, you're looking at 15 points. P5, you're looking at 13 points. As much as that's 10 and 12 points respectively off of what you get for P1, it's just, again, guaranteeing yourself in the hunt. We're on board then with Svistu, who was P3 earlier in this race, but unfortunately in that final sector, just lit the rears up on the curbing, spun the car all the way around, and just threw it away, basically. Lowman's just in front, though. He does have a 1-second penalty that will indeed have to be taken care of. So Svistu here, potentially looking at a bit of a freebie. And then they've got just in front of them Kuba Wanier, another Polish driver. Very much a Polish-dominated field today as well. So through that first sector, become the sweeping right-hander. Again, you can gain so much time through there if you're really, really brave. But at this stage, the tyres will be screaming for sure. Tyres will not last too long on these cars. They're high downforce, massive rear wings as well. As we sweep them through the left-hander. Along a little mini straight here before we indeed have a very interesting left-hander which switches into a right-hander. A nice little set of S's, but it's just so off camber through there. It's so easy to run off onto the gravel and lose so much time. And then you've got to maximize your speed through the right-hander. Slow down being taken then by Lomans. Svistu then with an absolute freebie. Because not only did they lose that full second by being slowed down in the penalty zone, it's the after effects of getting back up to speed that you also lose. So yeah, trying to be penalty free around this game, or around these circuits on this game, is vital. Absolutely vital. Let's have a little talk about the prizes though here, ladies and gentlemen. First place, 0.3 Ethereum plus a golden helmet NFT. So the golden helmet NFT actually does give that driver a paddock pass to Monaco plus a yacht club party, by the way, next year, 2023 at Monaco. So yeah, I wish I could drive in this. I wish I was quick, because that would be a pretty cool prize to have. As we see a lovely little battle here between 9th and 10th position. PRT Shadow then, and yet another Polish driver sends one up the inside of turn number 1. Are we going to hang on to the circuit here? Yeah, just about. Heiser actually loses out there because Shadow just ran a little bit far too wide. But ultimately, he's going to hold on to that position. So battles all the way through the field as it stands. And with that slipstream giving Shadow a very, very quick sector number 1, even with that little run wide through turn number 1. Down towards 6 we come, sweeping downhill left-hander. You just want to get the power down on that car, but ultimately you've got to be very, very patient there indeed. The battle for P4 is still very much rife here. Maverick just holding firm. Ooh, Kamalek there, sliding the rear out. It looks cool, but unfortunately it is not very quick at all. So let's just talk about the positions these two drivers are in. If you finish in 4th place in this championship, you get 0.1 Ethereum plus F122 on the platform of your choice. And if you get 5th position, you get yourself 0.1 Ethereum. So the difference is an F122 game title. So pretty cool prize indeed to have. We are now on lap number 9. 3 laps remaining here at Catalunya. Angelov still leads the way for SRC. Camsio GT for SRC then is in 2nd position. Chupagetti in 3rd spot. Then Maverick X24 currently in 4th spot. Then SRC Kamalek 24 is in 5th position. Kubawania is in 6th spot. Svistu and Lomans are your top 8. And by all accounts, it looks like they might be the only drivers here within the same sector as the other 2, or the other 3 drivers, should I say, may have dropped off here. So we'll see exactly what's happening. I can see on your track map there, they're all still around. So it will indeed sort itself out. Looks like there's a yellow flag here as well. Overtaking is not permitted during the yellow flags. We are on board finally for P1. Yes, Angelov is in this race, but has been so fast that we haven't seen too much camera time, which is exactly what Angelov would want for all 3 races. I don't want to be on camera at all if this is how it's going to be working out in terms of the results. So Angelov looking like, with 2 laps remaining here, the favourite to go away and take this championship. Camsio GT finishing in 2nd position as it stands. Of course, still 2 laps to go. A lot could change. Well, Camsio's got a bit of work to do here. These 2 are very clearly the fastest 2 drivers on the grid. And I'm sure we are going to see a proper championship battle between the both of them. Even though they're teammates, this is an individual championship. So they'll be looking to absolutely take the prizes home themselves. As you see here, Angelov is just within around about 0.3 of a second of his best lap times. Still, lap 10 of 11 laps here at Catalunya. That's pretty impressive stuff. Just shows a real margin of consistency. You've got Camsio GT though in 2nd spot, and it's not the end of the world here. Catalunya, done and dusted. One of my least favourite circuits to race on. If I'm completely honest, I don't feel like it's the best circuit in the world. So maybe Camsio is exactly the same here as me, and thinks, do you know what? I've got the worst one out of the way, because we've got Spa and Nürburgring that are both superb race circuits coming up. And that is where, indeed, Camsio can spread his wings. Angelov then dealing with the backmark traffic here as well. Delos 33 just removing themselves out of the way, which is nice to see. No messing around here. Doesn't want to be the reason why a certain driver doesn't indeed pick up the checkered flag. And while Angelov then does start the final lap of race 1 of the GP Metaverse Championship here on GT7. Merely 16 corners to negotiate here to pick up those 25 points. Opening up turn number 1 nicely through the sweeping turn number 2. And then you're straight away already leaning on the weight transfer of the car on the right-hand side. Grabbing a bit of curb on the inside there. Doesn't really need to do that at this stage of the race, but is taking a bit of a chance. Shadow sends one up the inside then of Lomans, or Lawmans, should I say. And Heiss is going to gain a position here as well. Shadow, well, I'm not sure how legal that overtake was. And I'm sure, again, that would be looked at. But the most important factor is that PRT Shadow is up into P8 as it stands. Also coming through turn number 1 now, but you can just see how much of a gap there is between P1 and P8. The front 2 are just on a different planet here. Delano just falling a little bit further back. As you can see, Kamalek in P5. What could it have been today? What could it have been for Kamalek? Started P3, dropped all the way back to P7s, back up to P5, but could have been so much more important. But it's not really going to be a question that's asked by Angelov, because it is maximum points here. Round the final couple of corners, barring one mistake, it is going to be a golden start here then for SRC Angelov, looking to get that golden helmet NFT and 0.3 Ethereum. It is race victory here at Catalunya for SRC Angelov. It's an SRC 1-2. Camsio GT then picks up 2nd position. Chupagetti, who's taken the rallycross line there through the final corner, will indeed take P3. And that is great points then for him. We've then got Maverick 24 in 4th position. Kamalek will finish in 5th spot. Kubawania takes 6th position. Svistu takes 7th position then as well. Looks like PRT Shadow will indeed take that top 8 position as well. And wow, what an interesting day of racing we have had here for race number 1. Remember, it's not over. We have still got 2 more races for you. But the day belongs to SRC Angelov, who picks up the big 25 points and the championship lead. Welcome back then, ladies and gentlemen, to the GP Metaverse GT7 Finals. We've got ourselves the SRC crew with P1 and P2. Angelov and Camsio are indeed at the top of the standings after race 1. Chupaghetti is in 3rd position there with a very, very good performance at Catalunya. We're here now for race number 2. We're in Belgium. We're at Spa-Francorchamps, one of the most prestigious race circuits of all time, home of the 24 hours of Spa. And wow, it is an incredibly beautiful place. Here is some facts here. Of course, in Belgium, we've got the track length of 7 kilometers. It's a long, long circuit here, and there are 20 turns in total. So a massive challenge for our drivers, that is for sure. As we get a lovely panning shot here of this beautiful circuit. Weather looking absolutely beautiful for some racing action. Here we go then. On our formation, just about to come across the line here, you're going to hear the sound from Gran Turismo here to get things going. And this Camsio GT then is in P1 right now, P2 in race number 1, and needs to go out there and beat Angelov and try and have a nice little run here for the potential championship. Then through the first corner, then La Source they come, and it's the 3 SRC drivers, the bright yellow cars, with Camsio leading the way. Angelov then currently in 2nd spot, and Kamilek, who had a terrible start in race number 1, has absolutely nailed it this time around. Up Radio and up Eau Rouge, along the Kemmel Straight they come, then up towards Les Combes for the first time of 8 attempts here, and there's no love lost here between teammates for sure, because Angelov makes a move for the inside line. It's not quite going to work out there. Camsio does indeed aggressively hold on to that position and holds on to that P1. Kamilek, though, again, went down to P7 from P3 on the grid in the first race of this championship, but ultimately finds himself in a P3 here, under a little bit of pressure from Svistu, who ironically was in a P3 himself as well in that race and spun the car in the final sector of race number 1. So we'll be looking to indeed right the wrongs from what happened in that race, and currently holds on to that top 4. We've got Maverick then, who is currently in P5. Chupaghetti 3rd in the championship as it stands, but only P6 on the racetrack right now. Kuba Wania is in 7th. Then we've got PRT Shadow in 8th as Kamilek is off the circuit. Oh, it's a big penalty as well for him. The rejoin here, well, it looked like it could be terrible. Ultimately, it was not the worst thing in the world, but the rejoin there from Maverick was very bad indeed. Maverick's got a penalty for his troubles as well, 1.5 seconds to be exact here. Shadow is going to go through. Wania is going to hold on to P5. Then Chupaghetti in 4th, but Svistu up into a top 3 again. And well, it has gone from bad to worst here then for Kamilek. Just not having a great race number 1, and well, it seems like it's all his own doing once again in race number 2. But drivers such as Chupaghetti are absolutely going to take full advantage of that, as we do indeed head on to lap number 2 of 8 here at Spa-Francorchamps. Through La Source we come. And again, Chupaghetti looking good here. Svistu trying to get as far right as possible, trying to break that potential toe here, because if you get a run down in towards Radio and Eau Rouge, along the Kemmel Straight, if you've got a little bit of head of steam to the car in front of you, it's almost easy pickings as we come then up towards Les Combes. Doesn't look like Chupaghetti is quite close enough here to take full advantage. As you can see, you've got the McLaren Formula 1 livery there on that car, heading then up towards Les Combes. But the gap has closed down here to maybe within sort of 0.3 of a second, whereas it was just over a second. Down then in towards Bruxelles, they will come here on lap number 2 with this battle for the podium spots. A little bit of a mistake there from Chupaghetti. Runs a little bit wide, but ultimately should be able to carry enough speed there to close up on the exit. Through No Name they come then, using all the curb on the exit, and then the long run down towards Pouon here. Double Apex left-hander. So easy to run too far off from that curbing on the outside of the corner, and then it doesn't indeed set you up poorly for the second of the 2 left-handers. Now we're coming towards the final section, the most technical part of this circuit here. This is where you will gain the most amount of time, realistically here. Because we've got this double set of right-handers, then up towards Stavlo, and then it's the long run down towards Blanchimont. It is flat out now, all the way down towards that bus stop chicane. Svistu, by the way, his middle sector here has been superb. Actually, maybe even closing up to Angelov from the team of SRC. Through Blanchimont they come. And yeah, it's a very good job indeed here, as we see Maverick just a little bit further back here. He's in P7, he's in behind PRT Shadow. Then you've got Kamalek, who's got to do the same as what he did previously in race number 1 and just recover throughout what it could have been in this championship. It's almost done and dusted, really, to say, oh, it is now. Kamalek completely running the rear of the car sideways there. And that's not only going to overheat the tyres, but again, confidence getting the power into the car is going to be at an all-time low. Maverick, though, almost closing up into the back of Shadow. And as we come up towards Radion and Eau Rouge, they're almost side by side here. And there is such a thing as being a little bit too close towards the bottom of Radion and Eau Rouge. And Maverick, I think, might just be ever so slightly. So he's going to lose a bit of momentum, but luckily, with the downforce of this car, that Shadow car is punching a massive hole in the air. Maverick will close up here, will have the momentum around the outside, and now it's all about making sure you hit your braking mark, making sure that you sweep it around the outside, close off any potential advancement from Shadow. They both go through there almost side by side, and now it gives Kamalek the chance of closing that gap back up. So almost a 3-car battle here. It is definitely a 3-car battle as Kamalek tries to go around the outside of Bruxelles. Is he going to have the overlap on the exit? No, he is not. Through No Name they come once again. And Shadow is looking to, well, hold on to P7 after losing P6 already this lap here. Kamalek looking to recover from what has been a dismal start to his championship, and it could have just been so much more. Absolutely would have been expecting to be fighting with Angelov and indeed Camcio, both for his team, but ultimately it's just not worked out quite like that. As we head then towards this double right-hander before we've got the long run, the long flat-out pedal to the metal section of this Spa-Francorchamps circuit. One more lap to go and we will already be at the halfway point. Camcio GT, by the way, who is currently in the lead of this race, finished second in race number 1, is out there with a 1:49.114 as the fastest lap of the race so far. So not only leading, but absolutely dominating here. Can Angelov find an answer to all the questions that Camcio is asking? And if it was to finish just like this, well, Angelov and Camcio, they would be on exactly the same amount of points heading into the final race of this championship, which will be in the Nürburgring GP, and that chance of winning 0.3 Ethereum, the cryptocurrency Ethereum, and also a golden helmet NFT, which also gives them tickets to the Monaco GP in 2023, plus a yacht party at the end. Here we go then. Slipstream working out perfectly here. Shadow on the receiving end previously with Maverick is on the receiving end then of Kamalek as well. So Kamalek does indeed bring that car through, both of them with the number 24 in their names. As we head then down towards Bruxelles, Kamalek is off to now try and chase down Maverick, the Belgian, currently in 6th position. No real pressure on him as it stands. But the real story is about Camcio and Angelov. They are gone. They are absolutely out there. No one's able to challenge them as it stands. Svistu and Chupagetti, those two are already close as well here. But here's Angelov. Can Angelov go and close down Camcio? That is the big question. Currently in P2. Currently going to be scoring 20 points. Which means, again, it would be tied up. It would be 45 points for both of them because they've both won a race and both come in second. So it would set us up absolutely perfectly here. So no mistakes from Angelov, and again, it's going to be looking good for both drivers to duke it out at the Nürburgring. But pressure is a wondrous thing, and ultimately can have a massively negative effect on our drivers and how they position their car on the racetrack. Lovely view here, though, on the halo of this Honda 2019 engined open wheel car here on Gran Turismo 7. But as you can see, Camcio just in a different planet. 48.755, by the way, now is the fastest lap time. No slipstream needed for that as well. Obviously being out in front, not using any other car. Angelov here gaining half a second on their best ever lap as well. Svistu currently in P3 And at this stage, it's just a case of keep yourself into P3. Don't try and make any silly moves here. You're not really going to catch up to the front two unless they make a mistake. But if they do make a mistake, you must be in a position to take full advantage. Chupagetti, who is currently third in this championship, is fourth on the racetrack, and that would indeed consolidate his third position in the championship as well. So he would indeed hold on to that with this fourth position finish. So it's tight out there, really, really close. But it's still Camsio GT, Angelov for Team SRC, who are P1 and P2. It is an individual championship here, ladies and gentlemen. And they are fighting each other tooth and nail. Svistu making it a Polish 1-2-3 out there in the front. Chupagetti is there in fourth position. We've then got Kuba Wania, who's in fifth spot. We've got Maverick, who's in sixth. Kamalek in seventh position. And we've got Shadow in eighth. That's the 8 classified drivers on the left-hand side of your screen here. Down towards the bus stop chicane we come, grabbing a load of curb as possible. We absolutely do so on the power. Really nice there, real smooth inputs there actually, as we see Angelov finally produce the fastest lap of the race, really trying to put the pressure on here. And it's a great thing to do if you've got it in your locker, to be putting in qualifying laps during this race, but those tyres are not in the best of nick considering what they would have been like at the start of the races, or the race. So for me, if you're going to be pushing this hard, you're either going to catch up to the guy in front or you're going to make a mistake here. So there's no real pressure from anyone behind. Svistu and Chupagetti aren't really close enough. But again, you just do not want to be pushing too hard here and you potentially make a mistake. And then ultimately you lose a few positions further back and you hand Camsio a lead going into the final race. I think having it tied up between the two of them is a perfect way for it to go down at the Nürburgring. 2.5 laps to go here. But it's still Camsio that leads by quite the considerable margin. There's Kuba Wania, a second race where Kuba is just on their own. Not really having much of an effect on the front drivers, but not slow enough to be near the back. So just running there on their own, currently in that P5 position. Managed to grab 10 points in the first race. There's Maverick runs completely wide there through No Name. Kamalek then not really close enough to take advantage, and Kamalek again qualified so well both races, P3 for both of them, managed to indeed go down to P7 on the first couple of corners of race number 1, but fight their way back all the way through the pack to get 13 points. But then in the second race, right now, it's only P7, so it's going to be a negative effect on their championship, considering they're well out of position for sure. The third over the raw pace, third fastest out of all of our drivers. But in races, it's not about raw pace, it's about keeping your nerve, it's about keeping it consistent, it's about doing a job. As Svistu is, well, that's the fastest lap they've produced so far, starting to absolutely fly here. Angelov with a 47.914, now that is the fastest time. Times are absolutely tumbling here. Down below that 48 mark, which is something I did not think I was going to see. Svistu just looking at those times thinking, oh, I'm in a great position for P3, but ultimately it's going to take a huge mistake here for me to gain any more positions. Kuba Wania then up over the top of Eau Rouge along the Kemmel Straight. Again, no one to be dragged along by, and dragging no one along behind as well with that massive red light there on the T-cam of this car. It's not a slow first sector by any means. They're only 2/10 off the best time produced so far from everybody. And the whole grid really is still quite close. As we are on board here with Kamalek then. So Kamalek coming down in towards Bruxelles. Nice wide entrance. Means you can just keep the power going through the car. Maybe a little bit more difficult to rotate the car though. Through No Name we come down towards Pouan. As we're on board with Svistu, and it's just come out on the exit of Pouan. With 1 and a bit laps to go here. He's absolutely flying, by the way. So Svistu is absolutely on it here. Blue being their best lap they've produced previously. Purple would be the best out of everybody around this race circuit. But Svistu just trying to do enough here to maybe see a mistake from Angelov. Because Angelov will be seeing the delta on his screen thinking, oh, you know what, I can't really push too much here, because if I do make a mistake, well, I am going to get caught for sure. So that's a very quick time there. Onto the final lap we will go then. Through La Source we come, and now it's the run all the way down towards Radion. Then up over the top of Eau Rouge, onto that Kemmel Straight. One of the most famous sectors in all of motorsport. Such a quick sector here, such a great opportunity to set yourself up for an overtake if you're close behind somebody else. As Angelov is starting to catch up here to Camsio. What's happened to Camsio? They ran a little bit wide. Oh, it's a massive mistake there from Angelov. He's pushing. He's hugely pushing. And wow, luckily, just about holds on to the car. Oh, well, no, he hasn't. It's a massive hit into the wall. So Angelov then comes out the exit of Bruxelles, has chucked the car into the barrier. It's not only a crash into the barrier and how much time they lost, but it's a 1.5 second penalty as well. And wow, that is going to have a massive negative effect on this race. We run out wide once again in Pouhon, down towards the final sector of this circuit. And how much time is that going to cost him? Will it be a position lost here? Will he be able to hold on to P2? I'm not sure he will. I think Svistu's going to catch up. So we're going to get to the penalty line here. I think Svistu might be able to gain a P2 here. And this is going to give Camsio GT the lead going into the final. Look how slow he's going. Yes, Svistu does get it. So Svistu is up to P2. Angelov is just about holding on to P3, I think. But Camsio GT has been absolutely gifted it here, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a victory. It's going to be the lead of the championship going in to the final race of 3 here for the GP Metaverse GT7 Championship. And does Angelov just about hang on to P3? He does. So all of those lap times Svistu's put in is paid off. Great job from Svistu. Angelov then finishes in P3, going to be absolutely furious with himself, but it could have been so much worse. Chupaghetti up into P4. Kuba Wania is going to finish in P5. Then Maverick is in 6th position. Kamalek 7th. He'll be thinking it could have been so much more. And then Shadow will be P8. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the final race here. Then we're at the Nürburgring. You see the Michael Schumacher S is just in the background. And it is Camsio who is in the lead of this championship. Svistu tied on 45. So there is a tie at the top end of the championship then, which is very, very interesting indeed. We're here for race number 3 in Germany at the Nürburgring. I'm not sure the results are exactly as what they appear on screen. I think you'll find that it will be Camsio that does have the lead of this championship. But here we are. We are here at the Nürburgring. The length of the track is 5.1 kilometers and it's 16 turns. Massive overtaking opportunities at every twist and turn. It comes down to this. 0.3 Ethereum plus the Golden Helmet NFT, which indeed gives you the passes to the Monaco GP in 2023 plus Yacht Club Party. So all comes down to this. Camsio on pole position. Kamalek, who's qualified well here. Can he convert a race result, though? That is the big question. And if he does convert that race result, it's going to kill off the chances of, indeed, Angelov then. So Camsio GT down towards turn number 1, as there's almost have a little bit of contact there between him and Kamalek. Angelov is going to come through here. And, well, actually, Svistu says, I fancy a bit more of an opportunity here. But as he does, runs onto the grass there, tries to get the power down. And, well, we all know how slick the grass can be. This very technical sector number 1. Plenty of overtaking opportunities if you can send it up the inside, but you've got to manage to hold onto the car. Kuba Wania, who's tried it, unfortunately is going to drop down a couple of positions here. Svistu will indeed retake one of the positions that he lost by running onto the grass here. Kuba Wania not quite having the best of lap number 1s. 10 laps of this race then to indeed decide our champion. Camsio doing everything they need to do right now and lead this race as it stands. We come up then to those very famous S's. The Michael Schumacher S is here at the Nürburgring. An incredible race circuit here, of course, home to the Nordschleife as well, which indeed is also known as the Green Hell. where they host the Nürburgring 24-hour 126 cars this year. We're racing there as we see a mistake there from Ciubeghetti. Grabs far too much curb, hits a bit of the gravel, loses the rear of the car, and that's 1.5 seconds of a penalty just to rub insult into the injury there. So not only do you lose a few positions, there's someone else, Vistu, has spun the car for the second time. There's a mistake here on lap number 1, and you gain yourself a penalty as well for your troubles. And well, that is not an ideal start here then for Svistu, or indeed Ciubeghetti. Ciubeghetti, though, has recovered here and gained the position. So we've seen Kubawania, Ciubeghetti and Svistu all make mistakes on lap number 1, and they ultimately are all the back 3 of our grid. We're on board from our sole Belgian. We've got Maverick here. Everyone else's flags are red and white. We've seen the French flag as well, with red, white and blue. But then we've got the Belgian with the black, gold, or yellow, whatever you would like to call it, and red flag here. So Maverick, is there going to be a potential podium here at the end of the day? The dominance, though, of the Camsio, Kamalek and Angelov, who are all racing for SRC, is continuing here at the Nürburgring. Kamalek, who has been, let's say, exceptional in qualifying, but in terms of the race, yeah, not really being able to be that consistent. But in race number 3 here, Kamalek is doing a sensational job of holding on to that P2. But ultimately, it's just doing the favour here of Camsio. It is helping Camsio massively by taking points away from Angelov. So Camsio looking in absolutely great nick here to take this championship. Finished second in race number 1, and then it's P1, and potentially, if it continues as it is, P1 here for the final race as well for the GP Metaverse Championship. Oh, Kubawania just grabbing far too much curb there. Nearly loses the car himself. It's so easily done. So as soon as you bounce the car over the curb, you just lose all sense of downforce. The whole downforce of the car just disappears, and ultimately, if you're in the air, your wheels, especially the rears, are going to be rotating because of the throttle input you're putting in, and then they're going to be spinning far too quickly for what the car needs to, or wants to go once they indeed re-embark onto the racetrack. And it's so easy then for the rear just to step out. Indeed, you lose the car completely. It just didn't look like Kubawania was going to get the car stopped there. Thankfully did. We're on lap number 3 here of 10. We get again a lovely look here from the Halo cam. That bright orange McLaren livery that Kubawania has been using throughout the day. It's down towards turn number 6, and actually 300ths of a second through sector number 1, quicker than he has been before. So settling into a nice little rhythm here is Kubawania after that early mistake. In behind PRT Shadow. PRT Shadow is currently in the best position that they have been in all championship long. Got 6 points in race 1, 6 points race 2, and as it stands would get themselves 10 points for race number 3. So really nice race number 3 here. Bit of improvement as well, which is always what you want to see. But who are on board then with Angelov, who's currently in P3, had a genuine chance of winning this championship coming into this race. Of course, winning race number 1, but has not had a good start. It resides in P3, but we're talking about Camsio GT, who's been exceptional today. Could have won race number 1 easily, didn't really put too much pressure on to Angelov, really. Could have sent one up the inside at any point, but just didn't at Catalunya. And his patience has paid off because, yeah, the second race was on absolute world level. PRT Shadow there, going half a second faster than he has done previously as well. So all starting to fly here. Svistu finally putting in a lap time, albeit it's now 2 seconds faster than he's been before. But I think that's really the first official lap time that he can say he got through cleanly. But yeah, it's Angelov just... Oh, sorry, Camsio just hasn't really pushed the boundaries today. It's been a case of, I'm going to win this championship. I'm going to do it my own way. I'm going to do it by performance. Again, took his medicine, got himself a massive P2 finish here. Kubawania nearly falls off the circuit once again. And then in race 2, and as it stands in race 3, the gap is, well, you can see on your track map there, to the right, top right-hand corner of your screen. He is indeed flying. Just gone through the Schumacher S's, then through the left and right hand, and before we had the long straight towards the final chicane, and then up towards the Coca-Cola curve. But yeah, it's a massive margin now, as we are now on board with Angelov. Under a bit of pressure from Maverick, actually. Belgian is relatively close here. So any penalties that these drivers do indeed receive is going to cost them hugely as well, and the penalty zone is on that back straight. So it's not just the time that you would lose if you get a penalty, it's the time of getting back up to speed as well. So yeah, penalties do indeed really hurt, and we saw that in race number 2, of course. We saw Angelov, who won race number 1, was in a very good second place position, had a 1.5 second penalty due to running into a wall, and that was it. That was it, unfortunately. Cost him the position. Svistu got up into a second position as well. Svistu not having the best of race number 3, but ultimately race number 2 being was absolutely exceptional. Here's P5 then, PRT Shadow. Doing a relatively good job here. Another Polish driver in behind of Kuba Wania. Looking to try and take advantage, although runs very, very wide out of turn 5, down towards turn 6, and actually carries a bit more speed by the looks of things. So through 6, now 7, down towards 8, which is the massive hairpin. If you just get on the power nice and early, getting some into the slipstream here, underneath that rear wing of Shadow, you might be able to make a move. Definitely not close enough this time round, as we are not quite at the halfway point of this race. Still 5 laps to go. As we head up then through the Schumacher S's. So not really taking too much of a chance with the curbing there as well, which is obviously a good strategy to get through the race safely, but I think if you want to gain a few tenths of a second, want to gain some positions, you really now do need to start taking liberties with these track limits. The long run back up the hill then towards that final chicane. Shadow then jumping over the first part of the curb, jumping over the second part. You can just see how much it upsets the car just running over that curb on the exit of that chicane. I'll tell you what though, Wania is very much catching up to Shadow here, dragging Chubaghetti along as well. And I was saying that Wania was in the McLaren livery. It's actually Chubaghetti's been in the McLaren livery all day. So we head down in towards turn number 1. And these 3 are closing up nicely. This will be a battle for a top 5 to end the championship with a bang. So I'm sure we're about to see some pretty cool action. P1, by the way, Camsio GT. It's one of those races where you're not going to see them, I don't think, very much on the camera. They're out in the lead. It's job done. It's almost done. Make a mistake, obviously you could cost yourself the position potentially. But yeah, Camsio's done all the hard work now. It's just cruise your way to that finish line. Get that 0.3 ETH and indeed that golden helmet NFT. Head to Monaco next year. Get on that yacht party. Have some fun. Oh, be a good time. Wania though is absolutely flying here. He is using all of the curb, isn't he? Trying to catch up to Shadow. Shadow pulling him along nicely. Chubaghetti will be in close proximity as well. Sooner rather than later, I would say. As we head then towards that back straight. Yeah, absolutely flying here. Kuba Wania is going to get dragged along. It's all about that final corner now, really. Kuba Wania is not going to be close enough to make a move here. But if you get a really good exit out of that final corner, make that run down towards turn number 1. So the battle for the top 5 between the 2 poles, Shadow versus Kuba Wania. I'll tell you what, that's a very good exit there from Wania. Will carry a lot more speed then, half a second faster than he has gone previously. As we head down towards turn number 1, probably not quite close enough here, unless it's going to be ascending McSendington. No Danny Ricciardo braking here today. Chubaghetti just being dropped ever so slightly by these 2 as well. We've now got just under 4 laps remaining of this race and indeed this championship. I say Chubaghetti's been dropped, hasn't actually, has he? Chubaghetti's still relatively close. And they've got Svistu just in behind here. So all 4 drivers at the back of the grid are still battling for position. And there are indeed other prizes available for these drivers as well. So it's not just a case of, oh yeah, we get P1, that is it, you're done and dusted. No, there are prizes all the way through here. So first place is 0.3 Ethereum plus a golden helmet NFT. Again, you obviously get to go to the Monaco GP next year as well with the Yacht Club pass as well. Second place gets 0.2 Ethereum plus a driver NFT plus 1 NFT token from the main collection at GP Metaverse. And then third position will be a 0.1 ETH plus a main collection token. Fourth place is 0.1 Ethereum as well, plus Formula 122 on any platform of their choosing. 5th place is 0.1 Ethereum, then 6th place is a GP Metaverse hoodie. 7th place is a $25 voucher for merch in a GP Metaverse shop. Oh, I would ask them to send me a hoodie, but I'm not sure they're going to have hoodies quite big enough to fit my massive body. But who knows? Who knows? Anyway, on to the final 3 laps of the race and the championship. Camsio GT holds that fastest lap at 1:31.810. As we're about to see some shenanigans here, Kuba Wania is going to go all the way around the outside. Shadow does not pinch him out wide at all. Oh, that's brilliant. That's an exceptional move there from Wania. And wow, up to P5 we will go. Shadow has been on the receiving end of some unbelievable overtakes this weekend, or these races. But ultimately, it takes 2 to tango. You can't always rely on the person to make the overtake to make it look special. You need someone on the inside, if you're already outside, who loses the position, to also race fairly and strongly for it to look great. Shadow has played his part here today, and absolutely now will try and retake that P5. How fast is Wania now? A bit of clear air, a chance to potentially drive off into the distance here. The job is a good one. Although with that overtake has lost about 0.8 of a second off of their fastest time. By the way, P1 rounding the final corner as we speak. Round the Coca-Cola curve right now is our race leader, Camsio. Incredible, incredible stat that is. Across the finish line he goes. So UNEM Maverick, currently in P4, doing a relatively good job. To be tied for the best finish of the day for Maverick as well. 2 4th positions so far in this championship. Actually starting to slow down a little bit is Angelov. So Angelov here might be in a bit of trouble from Maverick come the end of this race. 2 laps remain here. So the front 4 are kind of all spaced out, to be honest, individually. I guess it's the battle between potentially P2 and P3. But then it's the hellacious battle between 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th position. Those 4 are absolutely going at it, which is always good to see. I was just about to say Angelov's under a little bit of pressure from Maverick. Goes in and puts their best first sector in by nearly 0.2 of a second. Pressure? What pressure? SRC are dominating this championship. Done an exceptional job so far. Down towards the hairpin we will indeed go. And all of these drivers are going to win themselves a fair chunk of change of Ethereum. That's for sure, for all of their hard work. So through the S's we indeed will come. And again, if we look at the track map in our top right, through the final chicane comes our leader. So Camsio GT is just about to come around that final corner. And there we go. Perfect camera time then for Camsio. Starts the final lap here, and barring any miracles, it's going to be a championship victory. It's also the best lap of the race so far. Camsio's just flying along. You think, oh, I'm not going to take any chances here. Nope, trying to get the fastest lap again. Did it by 0.7 of a second. A 1:31.034. Will Camsio try and get a 1:30? I wonder. As Angelov then does indeed come across the line. Angelov, with this result, would absolutely hold on to that P2. So would guarantee the P2. And Kamalek, if Kamalek stays in P2, it's going to guarantee themselves P3 in the championship. Svistu forced to go around the outside. Shubagetti then makes a mistake with that line, but just about holds on to P7. Action aplenty here at the Nürburgring. Action aplenty here. Ooh, grabbing a bit too much curb there from Svistu. And there's a bit of a dip there on the inside of turn number 4, where GT cars will get their wheels on the inside of the curb to help rotate it. You can't do that in an open wheel car, unfortunately. The car's too light, so it just completely spins you then, as we're on board with Camsio. Not far to go here at all. Merely 3 corners to go up towards that final chicane. And Camsio GT finished P2 in race number 1. Was absolutely flawless in race number 2 at Spa-Francorchamps. We come to the Nürburgring, and well, just needed a strong result really. P2 would have been enough, but P1 is absolutely enough. Not only is it the victory in this race, but it is the victory in the championship. SRC Camsio GT will be on 70 points here and will take the GP Metaverse GT7 title here. Congratulations to him. SRC Kamalek with a very good recovery. Qualified so well today, but race 1 and race 2 just wasn't really on it. but ultimately got that second place here, which gets him third overall in the championship. Angelov then will finish in second in this championship. It's an SRC 1, 2, 3. And then we're looking at here Kuba Wania, who finishes behind Maverick in 5th position, Maverick in 4th. Shadow finishes in 6th, then Chupaketti is in 7th, and then Svistu finishes in 8th on the race track. So here is your official standings then. Camsio wins the championship with 70 points. Angelov is on 59, 51 for Svistu. We've then got Kamalek, who's on 41 points. Here's your prizes then. As you can see, first gets 0.3 Ethereum plus the golden helmet NFT. Second, 0.2 Ethereum plus driver NFT and token from main collection. Third gets 0.1 Ethereum plus a main collection token. And then fourth gets 0.1 Ethereum as well. 5th, 6th, 7th, and indeed 8th position with the prizes there. We've also got additional prizes for the best overtake.